Good morning, Alicia. Welcome to
Hi.
our Processor Masterclass podcast.
Hello, good morning.
Today, we're going to talk to our top processors. Today is Alicia Hoeflinger, who has managed a large pipeline and is consistently closing 20 plus loans a month. In fact, I don't think you've hit 20 loans or have only done 20 loans in a long time. But the goal of this series is simple. We want to pull back the curtain. We want to learn some systems, habits, and strategies that are going to help great processors succeed. And
Yeah.
so today, as I mentioned, I'm joined by Alicia Hoeflinger, who currently manages how many pipeline?
Um,
20,000 right now?
yeah, it depends. Usually, the low end is around 30. I've gotten up in the 60s, but that is silly. Um, Typical is probably around 40. Yeah.
Awesome. And how many did you close last month?
Um, in June, gosh, I want to say maybe in the 40s, somewhere around 40. Yeah. I think yesterday, the last count for July is in the 40s too. So consistent. Yeah.
Yeah, we've still got a week left.
Yeah.
How many years have you been in the industry?
I started in the year 2000. The towers were still up.
26 years.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
What's what would you say the type of loans that you primarily work on are?
Yeah. I mean, the conventional and the regular government loans. I'm getting more DSCR loans. I don't get a lot of renovation loans, the oddball ones I don't see a lot of. So I'd say the normal files.
And about how many loan officers are you supporting right now?
It depends. I get a lot of folks that send me a couple here and there if they need the extra support. But on average, I'd say 10 to 11 consistently.
So what's your typical workday look like?
Usually, when I first log on, I have tried something new to stay out of my email. I read that, the best way to start your day is don't let your email hijack you. So lately, I have been doing my best to just immediately go into Arrive and start my day on what's most important. So if I have post closing, meaning get CDs out for payroll, I try to make that my first priority. And then I go to closings. And then I go to files that are upcoming and closing. And that's usually the order I try to work in just for obvious reasons and time. That's how it starts. And then once people come to work, it's whatever the day does for me.
What time
But
do you start your day?
usually no later than 5. I like it that way. It's nobody's making me do that. It's my choice,
Uh-huh.
but it's so quiet and I get so much accomplished in the morning because it's true. Once the day starts, everyone has a priority and everything's urgent. So
When you wake up first thing in the morning, what do you do?
usually I always start out and I have either music going or YouTube, like a comedian, a stand-up comedian, something on YouTube going in the background just to keep, so not so quiet, but yeah, that's usually what I have on. And then I am online all day with other coworkers on video. We kind of have our own little video chat we do all day to kind of bounce ideas off each other. So once they start logging in, I'll shut myself down.
How do you make the decision about what is going to get your attention first and what you can kind of tackle a little later?
It's dependent. I hate making everything dependent on something else, but it is kind of true. It really does revolve around what it has to be done to meet a closing or a closing that's taking place or something financial that has to be accomplished. I always try to put the borrowers first over the loan officers. Sorry. If I see an email from them, I'm going to try to respond to that first. I do my best getting back to people as quick as I can. Sometimes it's hard. I'm an open book. I'm very honest and about how I try my best to always get back to folks as quick as I can. I don't like to wait. I don't like to make other people wait.
Do you do a time block in your structure or for when you structure your day, or how do you work that?
Only in the morning. I feel like when I time block, I tend to come back to a mountain in my email, which is almost more difficult. So I might as well just kind of go back and forth as I can.
Well, I kind of want to talk about some of the systems and organization that you have. So logistically, how do you keep track when you're working 40 or more active files at a time?
So in Arrive, it is a nice feature. Like you can obviously organize your pipeline by, the last touched or estimated closing date or anything you want. But usually that's the first thing I do to keep it in line of what's closing first. I also am slowly working on this massive buildable spreadsheet. I'm excited about that. It's a lot of work in progress with a lot of changes, but it's supposed to help me manage really what's important. It also has like a kind of how many days you have left, and it's a countdown for each file,
Yes.
which is helpful. And then divided by loan officer. So that way, if I get a call, I can immediately go right to this person and give them the lowdown. I mean, it used to be all in a folder on your desk in a rack. And that's, although I sometimes want to go back to that, I think it's so much easier visually. I'm a visual person, so I need something to look at to keep it straight. I give a lot of credit to folks that have no real tangible thing like that to look at, because I can't do that. I guess I'm too old school for it, but
You still have a printer by your side or a fax machine or something?
I do. Occasionally I have had to use it, not very often. But yeah, it's there.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
How do you make sure that nothing ever falls through the cracks? Or if it does fall through the cracks, how do you handle that?
You have to own it. We're not perfect, but you always own what you can and fix what you can and learn from it. But if something does fall through the cracks and I get called out on it, let's say like someone's like, what happened? You didn't do this. We didn't meet this. I got to go back and, okay, what created that? What can I do better? What can somebody else? Who knows? But it's, you just got to grab it and do your best to fix it. I've always looked at it as most things are fixable. Some stuff is a tough pill to swallow, but we try not to make those happen. But it's happened, sure. But it's a mistake you make once.
Right. Yeah.
That's how I've looked at everything. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I like the Bob Ross happy little incidences kind of thing. Like, oh,
Yeah. I like though that I'm lucky that my remaining loan officers, they all kind of treat me like we're a team and we tackle things together. And I understand that once that file is on my desk, it's my responsibility to keep an eye on it. But I also am very appreciative of the guys that I work with to be able to understand we are all working together and doing the best we can to meet everyone's expectations. Every file is a rush these days. It's been a long time since I've had a pipeline where it's a normal 30-day type of close. That just doesn't seem to happen anymore. So it is hard. Yeah.
Kind of like they learn that, oh, they can get it done really, really quick. So let's, I'm going to promise that with all my realtors. I'm going to promise that with the borrowers, and that's how I'm going to win. And yeah.
Some of the best advice I ever got was, under promise and over deliver. That it sticks to me because you look so much better in the end.
So maybe we should teach a class to LOs. Hey, under promise and over deliver, guys.
Yes, you'll look so much better to everybody involved. But I do get it. I think there's a lot of pressure from a lot of sides, and everyone's trying to meet their goals and make borrowers happy.
Do you have any templates or automations that have helped you to, make the most out of your time or save the day?
Yeah, we have a couple programs that have been helpful just to keep things organized, like, the Trello board for all of our important things that we need to remember or other people to need access to. We all are very good about contributing to different templates and things that work for us, different ways to describe a condition to a borrower that makes sense in our mind, but as someone that doesn't do this, they're looking at us like, what are you talking about?
Speaking a different language.
It is. And I do try to remember that. Every once in a while, I catch myself using an acronym and I'm like, they don't know what I'm talking about. We should stop it. But we just get used to that, But yes, so I use the Trello board for that. I Have a couple of things that I use in my email, like I have a Boomerang app so that I can monitor when my emails are opened, especially when I'm ordering third-party items, because it would be nice to know that it truly got where it needed to go. And then Arrive also has the feature now that they put out, I think maybe last year, with different tasks. So you get updates in your email. Hey, this is coming up due. It's really helpful. But I'd say I don't use a lot of outside programs. I feel like it can get cumbersome.
Do you have, when you open up your desktop, do you have like 100 tabs open? Or, I mean, I don't know. I've seen some
Maybe.
people's computers and I'm like, oh my goodness.
Maybe. I am very guilty of the 100 tabs, the 100 Adobe, like there's a gazillion of them. It's the same with my phone. It's pretty bad. Yeah.
Well, it
And
sounds like you
starting my computer. I'm bad about that too. Like, oh yeah, it's been a month.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Well, do you close all your tabs every single night, or do you leave a bunch of them open?
I lock my screen, so I don't really think about what's left open because my screens are locked. So yeah, I tend to leave a lot open.
And then practically for your workspace, I know you have a lot of monitors, but
Yeah.
I think some of it, like, I wonder if you find you're able to manage a lot of your workload simply because you have the monitors, you've got the space to
100%.
do that. Like, if you could, you
Yeah.
do what you're doing with just your monitor and another one, or what do you think you actually need to be successful with that pipeline?
I mean, I know that certain people can do it with one monitor. I am not that person. I don't know how I ever used to do it, because now I am so comfortable. I have two really widescreen monitors that I use. And in fact, just traveling or having to use my laptop alone, it's tough. Like it's tough. I like to have a screen that's just my email constantly floating, so I can kind of look over at it, and then the screen to work on. And with these screens, they can be divided up into like 3 screens on each one. So it is really helpful. I think that though everybody has their own thing that makes it better for them. But for me, the screens are an absolute must. I have a desk that goes up and down. I like that because I get sick of sitting.
It's the space that you're working with that can really, I think, help or hinder. I used to have to do my schoolwork when I was in school. I had to go to the library. I couldn't do it at home. I was too distracted. But like, have you created a space? Like, have you found that you're able to focus more when you're in your dedicated workspace versus if you did have to go upstairs and do some work while you were, I don't know, preparing food or something?
I have the ability, which is nice. I have those monitors that can kind of go with you and attach to your laptop. So that's actually really helpful. That was a good investment for anybody that doesn't have them and they travel. That's been really great. But yeah, when you're in your space where everything is where it's supposed to be, there's nothing better. I try to be as wireless as I can, which makes things really nice. But yeah, I give a lot of credit to people that travel and work. I don't think that's easy at all. Maybe it's just because I don't do it very often. I like my spot. I'm good here.
That's awesome. Well, I want to move on to kind of communication, which I find is, well, it's one of, Apex's core values, but it's also, I think, the key differentiator between, good and great. How often would you say that you communicate with your loan officers on a regular basis?
Daily. Every day. I talk to all of them at least once a day, if not 20 times a day. It just depends. I try not to bog them down with things that they don't really need to be a part of. However, if there's something that's difficult or we all of a sudden have a wrinkle in a file, I am going to tell them. I'm going to let them know. I know, when you start working with certain people enough, you're better off to either text them, to call them, or to email. That's how you're going to get them. So it just depends on the person. But for the most part, I text with my loan officers because that's what they like. And that's fine by me too. But every day, I don't think there's a day that goes by that I don't talk to everybody. If they've got a file, I've talked to them.
Smart.
Yeah.
How about, what does a great processor to loan officer relationship look like?
I appreciate a loan officer that he doesn't have to be, or she have to be fully involved in their file from beginning to end. However, I do appreciate a loan officer that is aware of their file. So if something was to come up, they know what I'm talking, like some sort of involvement. Everybody is so different though. It just depends on their team as well. If they have a whole slew of people that they work with to get their files from beginning to end, and it's not just me, that is different than just a one-on-one relationship. But it's give and take. I am very available for everybody almost all day and all night. And I try to not abuse that, but and same for them. I think everyone's pretty respectful of that too, which is nice.
Yeah. Oh, I love this question. Can you,
Yeah.
as a processor, help your loan officer to become an easier LO to work with? Do you feel like, or do you feel like you either hit the jackpot or you didn't?
I do feel like people have room to grow and to learn, but I don't think you can change people's method to their madness typically, especially if they've been doing this for a long time. And, you know, I do think, and I think we've even touched on this before with processor LO relationships, a lot of it is personality conflicts or not. You're working with somebody that direct all the time. I do think it's important that you guys can kind of mesh well in general. Otherwise it makes it really hard. And, but can they change? I think a little bit. I think you can give each other tips. I've had loan officers give me great input and advice for my own job. And some of it you just have to take with an open mind and not take things as personal sometimes. That's another thing. You know, everyone is trying to get to a common goal, but the presentation can be harsh on both sides. I've seen it both ways. So yeah, I think that everyone can adjust how they do things and maybe learn from it and be a better at your position, whether it's the loan officer or me. But ultimately, I do think that people like things the way they like them and what they're used to and comfortable with. And that typically is who they're going to seek out for a processor, in my opinion. I've noticed I tend to mesh with the folks that are really leaning on me for the paperwork side of it because they don't want to do that part of it. And that's why they have a processor, because they just don't want to deal with that side of it. And I get it. I don't want to be a salesman. I'm here for a reason. So yeah, usually it's two very different personalities.
Well, I like that. I mean, what you said about just taking what you want, not taking it personally, it makes me think of the take what you like and leave the rest. You know,
Yeah, it's hard to not take it personal in this job. I have definitely been through it, just like many people, talked to in a pleasant manner and also yelled at. And you learn, you know, it is what it is. Sometimes people really, I think, genuinely don't mean to come across that way too. Like they're stressed too.
Yeah.
They have a realtor yelling at them, you know.
A lot of money on the line for a lot of people and a lot of deadlines, and it's a stressful job, and it
is,
you know.
Yep.
But I think kindness goes a long way. You know, it's like one of those where you yell at the person on the phone and maybe you'll get it done quick, but that might be the last time that you work with them.
Yeah. I just don't,
burning bridges.
You know, in both sides of the coin, it's just so not necessary. And we see that every day in all avenues of people we work with. It's so not necessary, especially because we're all actually in one form or another, all working for the same people. So I don't know. I just don't see the point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think that's great. So what are some common communication mistakes that actually create extra work?
Communication mistakes with the loan officer?
Yeah. And borrower.
Yeah. Honestly, I would say things that cause maybe more work in general is the technology bridge with borrowers is probably more so than the communication. Just because, again, if they've never really done this, or maybe this just isn't their specialty sitting on a computer, they're more of a blue collar type of out in the field worker. So when you're asking them to do a bunch of things on the computer, and it's hard, and I understand that.
Yeah.
I try to look at it as it'd be like helping my grandparents or something, with the,
Yeah.
okay. And it doesn't matter in age. That's really not the point. It's more of people that just don't understand the ins and outs of stuff. So as far as communication, I would say it's more technology as causes me more work than communication. For the most part, all of my loan officers are really good at using either notes or communicating in email, whatever the preference is. So I feel pretty lucky in that part. Communication with borrowers, I suppose, excluding the technology, the only other thing would be is if they're just not good at getting back to you. That can get real tricky. You want to be moving along, but you also need to be direct and listen, we have a timeline here. If we don't get moving, we're not closing. So yeah, that's always a good time.
I feel like with today's day and age, it's almost like I hear on the chats too, it's almost like everybody feels like everything is an urgent matter, and everything that comes through is needing to be escalated and needs to,
Yeah.
what is it, CR'd. How do you handle an urgent request, when you've got LOs reaching out to you? If do you ever run into situations where multiple LOs are like, this is urgent, this is urgent, this is urgent? How do you handle that?
I think that we live and work in a society of instant gratification. So if things aren't instantly completed, somehow somebody's at fault, whether it's me, whether it's an underwriter, it doesn't matter. As far as tackling it, I just try my best to accomplish it in the order of what I believe is the most prioritized thing that needs to be done. So if I've got 3 LOs asking me to CR all these different things, I'll do that. But depending on what I know about the file, if I'm going to do the one that I think is most important first, try to get over that hump and move on to another one. I may be not the norm, but if it's a UWM file, a lot of that you can get done in their portal, which is nice. Other lenders, not so much. You either have to go the email route or call or whatever the case may be. But if I get everyone coming at me at one time, I will get to a point where the phone has got to stop. I'll pay attention to email but I'm going to have to call. So if everyone just gives me a minute, I can get it done. But yeah, it really comes down to what is being asked of me. If it's just because they don't like a condition, okay, I will, but give me a little bit. But if it's a closing, like someone's sitting at a closing, that's to me, a 5-alarm fire.
Yeah. So when you're trying to figure out what is actually urgent versus what is something that they just would like to get done as soon as possible, 'cause I think for a lot of these LOs carrying a small pipeline individually, like that is, if you got an LO that's only working on 1 or 2 files, any hiccup can seem like a big alert, urgent, do this now. Yeah. So, when you're looking at it and you're trying to assess, all right, what is actually urgent and what is actually just something I do need to get done.
Agreed. Yeah, but level of urgency. Yeah.
Do you just let it sit for a little bit, or do you let the LO know I got it and I'm gonna get to it? Or are you just like, they're gonna be fine, I have to actually deal with the urgency?
Yeah, if it's an email and they haven't contacted me on the phone or anything, I'll do it, or I'll respond and say I'm on it. Letting them know at least I acknowledge their existence. That's a hard thing. Listen, I think every LO's complaint is probably, it takes XYZ amount of time to hear. But I think, they do have to kind of keep in their mind, remembering that at any given time, we have 50, 60, 70 emails coming in. So we got to work and answer those emails and do your CRs. And, it's a lot of work. And processors have a lot of work to do. And just like the loan officers, but it's a different setup.
Yeah, totally. What do you think separates an average processor? A processor doing, maybe 3 to 10
Mhm.
files a month closing, so probably working 15 or so, versus one who's consistently closing that 20 plus loans a month.
That's kind of a hard question to answer because everyone's workflow is different. So I guess the first thing would be it depends on who they have as their loan officers. What kind of business are they bringing in, and are they choosing to take on more? Sometimes you can have, three really great loan officers, but if one of them's slow, you're slow. You got nothing coming in. So it's kind of dependent to me on that. Whereas if you keep more folks involved, your chances of having a bigger pipeline is always greater. But I wouldn't say that makes necessarily one better than another or anything like that. I think everyone picks what they want. How hard do you want? How many hours do you want to sit here? Do you want to torture yourself like I do? No, I'm kidding. But it's a lot. I don't try to underplay it. I'm here all the time. I work really hard, and I think that people with smaller pipelines, they also work really hard.
Yeah.
It's just,
Totally.
I've chosen to give a lot more hours and devote more time by choice. I kind of look at it as these are my years to get in all the work I can because I'm someday not going to be working on loans. I'll be drinking a margarita somewhere
Hopefully on a beach.
with birds and dogs.
Birds. Is that beach going to still be in Michigan?
No, no way.
That's awesome. What do you think is what's one habit? If you had to choose one habit, what do you think that one habit that's made the biggest difference in your success? What would that be?
I guess, the life changed in my career and position. Like I'm sure a lot of processors, it used to be when you processed, you were at a big company like a bank or, the Wells Fargo's or UWM or whatever. And you sometimes were in a position where you were more of a salaried type of, you work in an office and everything changed. So I would say I joke about the fact that I would never be a salesman. However, you are when you're a third party processor. It is completely different. You are kind of selling yourself, and the ones that like working with you stay, and the ones that don't necessarily like how you do it or like you or whatever the case may be, they look for a different processor. And I always try to remember I am replaceable. It's just the reality of it. There's a lot of people that, want to do these types of jobs. So you have to give it your all. So one habit, I don't know, giving my all. Probably that's it. Because I don't think I really changed anything else. I really don't.
Yeah. But I don't think you would probably, and speak for yourself, but
Yeah.
attribute your success and your volume to luck of the draw, I mean, sometimes it's like, hey, I got an LO team, or I got someone who's a heavy hitter and they're pulling in a lot of loans a month. But at some point there are the habits that you have that have allowed you to maintain that business, to keep that business, and to grow that business through, either word of mouth. I think that's the majority of your LOs at
That's
this
probably
point.
true.
Heard from you from others.
Yeah.
Because of the way that you interact with them, the way that you make sure their files close on time, which is probably the most important thing to any LO.
Yeah. I guess you're right. Sometimes I tend to probably downplay my role in anything just because, that's just my personality. But yes, you are probably right. I think most of my business has been word of mouth, which is wonderful for me, and I appreciate that from other people. I do think that on occasion I have let a onesie twosie kind of come in that I hadn't worked with before. Sometimes it's worked, sometimes it hasn't. I think people stay and are devoted to you as a person and a processor if you work well together. And, I do believe that. I've been very fortunate with a couple of people, and I'm grateful for that. But sometimes it's not, it really is just luck. It was a happen to meet you or, whatever the case may be. I've had a couple of folks like that too. So I I do think, though, that the secret of building a good pipeline and a good group of people that you work with is making sure that you continue to self-promote a little bit. I'm not saying you necessarily have to go out and, knock on doors, anything like that. But, if your pipeline's low and you want more loans and you don't feel like you're getting maybe necessarily the exposure that you want, that's probably maybe a time to get out. I hate to, get out on social media a little bit, and see what happens. But also, if you are lucky and you have a really good loan officer that maybe just kind of takes your name and says, hey, I got a great person, you just never know. I don't really know what else to say, because it's just so dependent on the person. It really is.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think the word of mouth, I don't know any LOs that don't know other LOs. And
Yeah.
I feel like if as a processor, you've got at least one or two solid relationships with loan
Mhm.
officers, just simply asking them, hey, I've got business available.
Yeah.
I've got room in my pipeline. I'm not going to forget you. But I'd love it
Right.
if you'd spread the word out about me, I'd really
Absolutely.
like to be able to
It goes a long
continue
way.
processing. Absolutely. And I
Yeah, it
think for a
really does.
processor to tell their loan officer, hey, if you can help me fill my pipeline, I'm going to be able to be doing this a lot longer for
Yeah.
you.
No, it's very true. And, another thing I've always kind of noticed in our industry is there's a lot of processors and a whole lot of loan officers, but it's a small world. Everybody knows everybody. Everybody has, oh, that AE worked over there 15 years ago. We in some format, everybody knows everybody. So, that can make a good thing, but it also can make it a bad thing if,
For sure.
if you're not the nicest person, it goes around.
It does.
Yeah.
What do you think? And in the similar vein of like what you've done that you've added that made your success, what's something that you stopped doing that actually made you a better processor?
I do feel it's making me better is stop instant replying and instant reacting in emails. And I what I mean by that is, as soon as an email would come in, I'd immediately be like, well, why are they, give it a minute, think about it, make your responses meaningful. And that sounds cheesy, but it's important, because I used to be very quick on the response, and I caught myself barely even answering the whole question because I was just trying to hurry and get through it. So I do feel like that has improved with me, is not letting my email make or break my day.
Yeah.
That's a good way to say it.
I like that.
Yeah.
What advice would you give someone who's trying to go from the 10 to the 20, and not necessarily because they need to get more loans from loan officers, but like their actual ability to comfortably and actively work those files?
I would say probably the number one most important rule when you have a lot of files, and really even when you have a smaller pipeline, is find whatever works for you to keep yourself organized. Whether it's an Excel sheet, whether it's I have a coworker who still does the racks and the folders just so she has that visual, and it's genius because that's what works for her. It keeps her organized. Whatever that is, if you're completely in a younger generation where you never had the big folders and the racks, you don't need that, maybe, and that's fine. But anything, an app that keeps you organized. I have one of those digital calendars up on my wall, so it beeps at me when there's something that's important. It's because I'm visual and I need the audible alert. That's how I keep myself organized. So I would say, in order to build your pipeline and be able to provide the service that you were providing at a smaller pipeline, you have to find a way to integrate it together and make sure that you're still able to answer the emails, put the files in, post-closure files, make sure you make your phone calls. There is a lot going on at any given time. And if you forget something, people never forget it. If you forget to do something, they don't forget it. And so take that extra step, put an extra alarm on your phone, whatever the case may be, to hit everything you need to. Don't miss a lock.
Don't miss a lock. You heard it here first.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the lightning round. You ready? I think I already know all of these questions for you,
Oh.
but
Okay, I'm ready.
I'm excited. All right. This is one word or a quick answer. All right.
Okay. Yeah.
Coffee or energy drinks?
Energy drinks.
Morning person or night owl?
Morning, always.
Inbox to zero, yes or no?
No,
Favorite Gmail or email tip?
don't use Gmail.
Get out. You never edit that out, Jake. Just kidding. What's your favorite productivity tool?
Boomerang, for sure.
Biggest processing pet peeve?
When borrowers or loan officers send images instead of actual PDFs.
No JPEGs, no PNGs.
Thank you. That's what I was trying to say.
Please. The most underrated processing skill?
Time management.
What's one thing you wish every LO understood?
We are only one person. I'm only one person.
What's the most important quality in a processor?
Your ability to adapt.
Final question. If I handed you 50 active files tomorrow, what would you do first?
I have no idea. 50 active files and just, I don't cry. I would cry.
Well, don't worry. I'm not going to do that to you.
Okay, good. The second thing I'd do is just drink another Alani.
Take another Alani.
Yeah.
One file at a time.
Yeah.
That should be our motto. One file at a time.
I like that.
Well, in closing, thank you so much for joining us today and giving us this behind the scenes look on how you manage your pipeline and consistently perform at a high level. For everyone listening, remember, success is not about working harder. It's about building systems that allow you to work smarter. And thanks for joining us on our very first episode of the Processor Masterclass.
Pioneer. Thank you.
Cheers. Thank you.